Hello, GovCon winners, and welcome back to my channel. In case you're new to the channel, my name is Kizzy Parks, and I help you learn how to find, bid, and win federal government contracts based on my experience being awarded over, $50 million in federal government contracts. Today, we are going to talk about the number one most important thing in the federal government space. It is your capability statement, your one pager, which sometimes is 2 pages, 1 page on the front, another side on the back. I'm actually going to show you a before and after and talk about what you should have in it and what you shouldn't. So in case you're completely new to this space and you're wondering, what the heck is this capability brief? I've heard about it. What is it? In the federal government space, a capability brief is very similar to the concept of having a resume. So it is a 1 or 2 page document, typically saved as a PDF document that you are emailing out to federal agencies or you're handing out in person at events that provide key information about your company, who you are, what makes you different, who you've worked with in the past. So then they have an idea if you are maybe a potential fit for existing requirements, otherwise known as opportunities, future requirements, perhaps to partner with someone. What's great is this is kind of your calling card, per se, in the federal space. But just like a resume, just like a LinkedIn profile, just like a calling card. Doesn't mean you're going to get the job. Doesn't mean you're going to get a $10 million contract with Department of Labor. It still requires a lot of business development skills and activities, but it at least signifies to the federal government that you, the business owner, the vendor, you know what it takes to at least advertise in this space and how to best present yourself as an amazing contractor because you are a GovCon winner. So let's get into it and let me show you what these things look like. This is a capability brief for Lucos. This is a company that my flagship company actually is a subcontractor to Lucos. So I love using them as an example. For this capability, for this one pager, it is literally 1 page. And you'll notice logo is here on the left. Their set-asides are on the right. Key information is in the middle. What's important is you have to put yourself in the position of the government employee. They're receiving hundreds of these, maybe thousands of these. The faster that they can just eyeball it and say, oh, wow, okay, they're service disabled, they're an 8A, terrific. They're located in Tampa, okay. It's giving them this snapshot, key information, high-level information. So in addition to their overview, they also highlight what we do. Sometimes this is listed as core capabilities or capabilities. So they've drilled it down to technical, training, research, and healthcare, and just put bullets underneath. So then the actual end user can start to think about, okay, they are involved in exercises and training. We have some training requirements coming up. Maybe they're a good fit. Maybe I'll send the source of SOT to them or notify them about a source of SOT notice. Then they go a step further and they actually list some of their customers. And you'll notice, which is very strategic, the contact information isn't there. The contract number isn't there. Why? Because these capability briefs are circulated throughout. So if they put that type of information here, then competitors could research that. So they've provided just enough so that the government agency is aware of who they're serving, SOCOM, which locations, and if they want even more information, it'll require a conversation, which is perfect because 80% of sales is asking questions, is getting to know someone. It's the person side. not just telling the world how great you are. And that's how they kind of conclude this section. Then they have differentiators here, their contact information at the bottom, their DUNS, which is being replaced with the UEI, and their website. There is one thing that is absent from theirs, and there's a reason for it, but we'll drill into that in just a second. So just hold on. When it comes to these one-pagers capability, often when you're first starting out, Lucos has been in business for many, many years. So they're pros. They even have, I think, a top secret security clearance capability. So they're just such an amazing company that I truly admire. But for those of you who are starting out, or maybe you feel as if, hey, maybe I can do something a little better with my capability brief, what do you recommend? First and foremost, make sure you're not missing any key information. So I'm going to show you an example. So here's an example of a before. This is a client that I worked with, and this is a capability brief, a one-pager that they used primarily on the commercial side and as a subcontractor. And with this, it's very hard to get a snapshot of who they are. Are they a small business? What is their cage code? How do I learn more about them? So they're just missing that key information. And in case you're wondering, what is that key information? In addition to your business name, you want your cage code, all of the certs, if you're woman-owned, economically disadvantaged woman-owned, service disabled. Pretty much most of you viewing should be a small business. Typically, you are a small business because recall, in the federal government, you are either small or you're not small. It's unrestricted and it's based on the NAICS codes. But I'm pretty sure that most of you are still considered small. Nothing wrong with that. And keep in mind, when we talk about small in the federal space, we're not talking about less than $30,000 a year annually. We're speaking of some of the NAICS, small could be 30 million. Okay, so that's why having a very clear, clean capability is helpful, because there's so much competition. And as a small business, you really want to create your own ocean. You also are going to want to include your NAICS codes. So that is one thing that was missing, not only in Lucos's example, but also with the example here. You don't see them at all. Typically for a company the size of Lucos, it's uncommon for them to put the NAICS. Or perhaps this was a targeted capability brief, which I'll discuss more about what that means. So they didn't put them here. They could, if they wanted to, they could add a second page and include them. But because of where they are as a business, it's not necessary, because they have so much work, so much past performance that it speaks for itself. Look further into the before. There's information about the organization. There's information concerning what they've done in the past. But at the same time, a lot of the key information is just missing and it's hard to find. And when it comes to the federal government, making their lives easier, it is key. The next thing, these must be customized. So if you are contacting Department of Labor concerning highlighting your training opportunities, then your one pager should speak to training. If you're responding to something or you're contacting an agency around something concerning IT, it should be IT related in nature. Every single thing on there should be connected to not only the topic, the NAICS, also to the agency. So if you're targeting the Army and you're spending all this time talking about your past experience with Department of Labor, you have to be careful. If you have any type of experience with the Army, maybe you don't, maybe you do, it's great to highlight that, put that up front. Next is, you do not need to spend a lot of money on this. There are a plethora of different templates that you can purchase. You can hire someone off of Fiverr. What's really important is that you have the key information. So here is the after. I know you couldn't wait for this. Much of this information is blurred. It's just to keep the client information confidential. So the business name is at the top and the NAICS are up there too, which is amazing. It's awesome. So now putting yourself into the mindset of the federal government, now you're thinking, okay, this is, if I were them, this is what I would want. I would want all the key information at the top. What they do, who they are, business address, DUNS, which would be changed, of course, to the UEI, cage code, the fact that they have a GSA schedule, that they're veteran owned, their capabilities are outlined as well as why them, looking at the areas that stand out, also including their customers. So for instance, with Lucos, you get an idea of their customers because they've highlighted them in blue. For the example here, they're all listed. Sometimes you'll find companies that'll put images. Sometimes they'll put images and the words. What's key is you list out your customers. If you don't have any, maybe there's someone you could list. There's got to be someone out there, even if it was perhaps a previous employer, and you can talk about that. Hey, they were a customer. This is what I provided to them in an employment scenario. Even if you are a sub or sub of a sub of a sub of a sub, you can still put those customers there. What's important is this is adding to trust, to validating you, to convincing a government agency, hey, we want to get to know them more. We want to take a chance on them. That's what this is about. Because the other way that you can use these is in a capability brief by requesting one. And during that capability brief, you get to actually talk. It's kind of like a job interview. You're providing detail, you're providing color around all the information that is here. So you're able to really highlight the situation, the action, the result in terms of all of your clients or the projects that you list. And then you see here, all of those projects have just now been reformatted. Contact information is reiterated at the bottom, along with their logo and the 2 set-asides. And what's key when it comes to your capability brief? You must be able to edit it. It must be edit friendly. Why? Because you need to customize these. You must customize your capability for every single vendor that you encounter. You're going to need to customize it unless all of them are Army or all of them are Air Force or all of them are Navy. But you're going to need to tailor them just a little bit. Nothing so elaborate, but just tailor them just a little bit. Maybe you move a logo up a little higher, or you reorganize one of your past performances to the top that was at the bottom, because you're also showing them that you're paying attention. And I know that you're paying attention because y'all are GovCon winners. Y'all are amazing. I know this. So when it comes to a capability brief, it is your foot in the door. You're conveying who you are, how amazing you are, what you're able to do, what differentiates you, how to contact you. And also as a bonus, you could add actual references in there. There are some capability briefs where they'll have a section on the second page in the middle or at the bottom where they'll list 1 to 3 references and make a note stating you may receive more upon request. Why not? Because you're showing the agency, I have nothing to hide. Nothing to hide. We're successful. What we've stated here, I know we are amazing. That's all that you're doing. You're making their life easier. So again, you got this. Work on your capability, make those tweaks, and I know you're really going to be able to leverage this to find, bid, and win federal government contracts. Please comment below, subscribe, hit that notification button, and don't forget, everything is possible. Take care.